I need some of you guys to take notes, because these are the signs that a girl is not interested in you and you should not approach her. Do not approach her, because she will reject you. If she's walking towards you on the street and she moves out of her way, like willing to step into the street to avoid you, she's not interested. Don't do it. Personally, I've been known to cross streets. If I see somebody coming, I'm like, no, we're crossing the street. And I will risk my life to cross that street.
What?
Let me get this straight here. You would rather play in oncoming traffic than share the sidewalk just because the person on the other end just so happens to be a guy who might actually make eye contact with you? Like, lady, what are you talking about? You are trying to give notes on an incredibly specific situation that really doesn't exist. Now, I've dedicated 5 seconds of my brain to try to figure out who exactly you're referring to here, which is 5 seconds more than you put into the thought of this whole video. Your average proud member of the bottom 95% club is not going to be taking this advice because he's not going to be approaching you. He has better things to do with his day than get pepper sprayed for no reason. And Chad's not going to be taking this advice because the advice clearly isn't designed for him. So in essence, this so-called advice of yours is directed towards the men who would never bother talking to you in the first place. So mission accomplished, I guess. I mean, lady, you're really going to need to put some more thought into this so-called advice before you start dulling it out, because it doesn't make any sense at all.
If a girl makes eye contact with you and her face immediately looks disgusted, if her face drops at all, she's not interested. Do not take that eye contact as a signal that she's interested. Please do not approach. I'll even move myself out of your line of sight to avoid accidentally making eye contact with you again. I know some of these are obvious, but you'd be surprised. And also, I know it's hard out there to know when a girl's interested, because a lot of the times we don't make eye contact and we play it all cool. So these are the signs that she's absolutely not interested. Hope it helps.
That just raises further questions.
I'm just gonna level with you, lady. You really shouldn't be doing this. Not because you have nothing to say, which is obviously true, but because you don't know what you're talking about. Modern women have made it clear to men that under no circumstances are they to approach. And men, listen, they don't approach, so this advice is completely meaningless. We're not even gonna bother to look at you because you're just gonna look at us with disgust anyway, so why bother? You need to be real with yourself for a second, lady. This is not advice, and it is not your intention to help men know when it's okay to approach. This is merely a cry for attention because you need to pretend that you're a victim because, well, let's just face it, the comment section of your TikTok videos is all you have to look forward to when you wake up in the morning. Deep down, you want to be a victim. You want the attention and you want the pity, but we all know just as much as you do that nothing could be further from the truth. But you don't need to worry, sweetheart. We're not going to approach you even if you had a $100 bill sticking out of your pants. We're self-respecting men. We like to keep our wallets free of your stench.
That's funny because it's so true.
Does anybody else just have a random day where they freak out about the fact that they're actually an adult and they can do what they want and they have responsibilities and they have to live like an adult life? Because today I drove myself to Pilates. I did the class and I paid for the membership myself, right? And then I drove to the grocery store. I got a trolley. The worst part is that I got a trolley because it makes it so adult and it freaks me out. I got a trolley. I bought $200 worth of groceries and then I drove back with my full license, mind you. I'm gonna vomit.
Congratulations!
Well, the short answer is no. Nobody really freaks out about that because what you're talking about are the bare minimum responsibilities of being an adult in Western society. I mean, what do you want, a freaking medal? Or better yet, what did you think being an adult was going to be? Like, did you honestly think you were just gonna go out partying and staying up late and being able to go to a rated R movie on a school night whenever you wanted? I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of aspects of being an adult that are pretty freaking awesome, but they are going to be mired down by the basic responsibilities of being a grown-up. Which just further proves the point that modern women are just children trapped in grown-up bodies. I mean, just take a look at this broad, for example. She's literally about to vomit because she needed a shopping cart when she went to the supermarket to buy groceries. And I personally can't wait until she finds out how taxes work. But the best part is that this is what modern women have been demanding for the last 4 or 5 decades. And now that they got it, they're freaking out because they don't know what to do with it. It's just like a modern woman for you.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
I want to rip the hair out of my skull because I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody. I don't want to look for other people. I find nobody attractive, and the only person I can actually find attractive is the person I should never be seen out in public with. I've tried to look at other people, and then every time I look back at that person and I'm like, ah! It's hell on earth. How dare you? Get out of my head. I wish that I could get something that would just like, and it never happened. It's the only person I like. It's the only person I'm attracted to.
Emotional, damn it!
Yeah, it's if choosing the wrong guy has some detrimental consequences to your brain pan there, sister. Who would have thought that doing the bedroom bounce with Chad, Tyrone, Raphael, Marco, Chang, Wang, Takeda, and Thaddeus would have such detrimental consequences? If only there was an army of men who have been warning you about this for literal decades, but of course you just disregarded all of them, told us that we didn't know what we were talking about because we're nothing but a bunch of violent loser incels. But if there's any good thing to be had from any of this is that at least you know that you're completely broken and you're not attracted to any other man besides the bad boys which ruined you. Oh, but don't get me wrong, that's not going to stop you because you have "I'm willing to settle" written all over your average face there, sister. You can't help it. You're going to get so lonely that you're going to try and settle for some average looking guy who's going to treat you well, but at the end of the day, you're going to end up resenting him because he is not the dude who treated you like complete and utter crap. And we're not about to atone for the sins of your bedroom antics, woman.
Damn it, Bert, you stole my goodbye.
I really feel like more people need to understand that this is literally your life. This is your life. You get to call the shots. You get to decide who's in it and not. Okay? You get to decide if you want to take yourself out of situations that you're suffering in. Suffering is like not cool, guys. Like you do not need to suffer. At that point, you are putting yourself in that situation because you always have the option to leave.
Jesus, she is terrifying.
Oh, well, that's where you're wrong, sister. There's only two types of people in this world who don't have to suffer. The first one is the Buddha, the second one is Skeeter. Neither one of them are you, sister. There are three harsh truths in life. You're going to be born, you're going to suffer, and you're inevitably going to die. We all accept it and just move on with our lives. But what we don't do is complain about how we have to suffer because, well, in all honesty, suffering builds character. It's something that we all have to do. And some of us actually take that suffering, go into an introspective place, and learn how it can make us stronger and move on with our lives. But you're clearly not doing that. You're trying to deny suffering, which is literally impossible. But here's the twisted part. You actually bring all of this suffering on yourself through your terrible life choices. You focus on a career that leaves you unfulfilled, you chase after men who aren't interested in you for anything long term, and you don't do anything productive with your life. But if even that wasn't the case, you're using the term suffering to describe the end of a situationship. Woman, you got first world problems. Quit your bitching.
Is it the easier option? Fuck no. But if you want to suffer, then by all means, suffer. But like, I feel like it's people really don't understand that like the time is now. Like if you want to change your life, if you want to do something that you've always wanted to do, why are you making yourself excuses? Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it when I'm this. I'll do it when I have this mindset. I'll do it when I.
You have had the frontal lobe of your brain removed and replaced with bubble wrap.
Woman, you really shouldn't be going there because typically when it comes to doing the things that you want to do, it usually involves dressing up in skimpy clothing, going to clubs, and maybe spending way too much money on a trip to someplace in Europe, which coincidentally gives you an excuse to dress up in skimpy clothing and go out and get pathetically drunk. It's awfully convenient that you get to talk about all of the things that you want to do, but not give any concrete examples. But the reason is, well, you don't know what you want to do. You have no drive, you have no purpose, and you have no future, and it is driving you crazy to the point where you need to go on a gibberish rant in the front seat of your car. And this whole rant of yours is predicated on the delusional fantasy of the modern woman, which is bizarrely specific yet incredibly vague. You want to be rich and you want a hot husband. You don't know how you're going to obtain those things, you just know that it's destined for you. But in your vain attempt to try to make these things happen, you're probably going to end up getting a real estate license or something like that, and then just continue the epic failure that is your life.
And then, like, when it actually happens, you make yourself more excuses. It's a self-sabotaging cycle, guys. You're literally self-sabotaging what's actually meant for you. You're blocking blessings. You're, like, you guys, it's not cool to suffer.
Like, people talking, they say, huh? What are you talking about?
I just think somebody needed to hear that today, okay? It's really not cool to suffer, point blank period. And all I want to say is you have complete control over yourself, which in return will dictate how your life is. You don't have control over life, but you have control over yourself, okay? Have a great night.
And you get a reaction from people who say, huh? What do you talk about?
You know what I really like about this video? This woman had absolutely no idea what she was talking about and then decided to pin it all on the concept that it's not cool to suffer. And she's trying to make it sound like it's this deep, profound thought when, yeah, we all know suffering sucks, but you get used to it. She then turns around and then says that you are in complete control of your life, even though you are the one that are denying these massive blessings that are beyond your control. So which one is it, woman? Because it can't be both. Now, we all know who this video is for. It's clearly intended for you to make yourself feel better because Chad has better things to do than waste his time with you. He had his fun with your gunked up oil slick of burning sensations and just decided it wasn't worth it anymore. So he ended things and now you're freaking the hell out because you failed in yet another situationship. Now, I know you thought you had this profound idea, but allow me to part with you some actual words of wisdom from men. Go suffer in silence, preferably as far away from us as humanly possible.
Anything less would be uncivilized.
Today's video would not have been possible without the support of the fine gentlemen and gents over at the Bounty Board on Patreon. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your support is nothing short of freaking sweet. And it's awesome to know that there are guys out there who want to support the work that I do, and I for one salute you. And technically, between you, me, and the window washer, I'm not even supposed to do that under the laws of Sector Sigma, so just keep that little tidbit between us. What do you say? All hail! And if you're interested in supporting the channel, check out the Bounty Board over on Patreon, where for $5 a month, you can get access to exclusive content you're not going to find on YouTube. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment down below for you. And of course, you can always support the channel by liking this video, sharing, leaving comments, and if you're enjoying my particular brand of comedy, then I hope I've earned your subscription today.
Last night I learned that a majority of society's issues would be solved if men stopped serial dating and instead went to therapy. I was on a second date with a guy last night and we started talking about dating. I was like, yeah, I hear some guys like will go on 2 or 3 dates and I just like don't understand like 2 or 3 dates a week, and I like don't understand how that's sustainable. And he's like, oh yeah, that's so common. He's like, I know so many guys who do that all the time. And literally I was thinking, number one, not only is that like expensive, especially if you're doing like drinks or dinner or whatever, but also I literally just thought, damn, these men are probably so fucking lonely.
Really?
Woman, I hate to be the one to tell this to you, but just because you pork Chad on a regular basis does not mean that he is an accurate representation for all men everywhere. Now, this is basic Chadnomics we're talking about here. You are not spending any time with a member of the illustrious bottom 95% club. You're going after the top 5% of men, and those men do date regularly. It's because women want him, and he can afford to do it. And he's not going to pass up the chance for some low-effort poontang. Now, you've deluded yourself into thinking that Chad represents every single man everywhere on planet Earth, but that's just simply not the case. Now, I cannot confirm the dating habits of every single self-respecting man on planet Earth, but that's just because my mind functions normally. But when you take a man's typical experience when it comes to the online dating app, taking a sledgehammer to the chest is significantly more of a pleasant experience by comparison. And trust me, sister, those men are not serial daters. We actually leave that moniker to you because you do it so well, and we're not about to culturally appropriate.
Now, there's this like quote-unquote loneliness epidemic happening with men right now, but the world would be a different place if instead of going on all these dates to seek whatever they're trying to fulfill, this like deep void in their heart, maybe they could find that praying a little, going to therapy, everything but dating. So anyways, I've learned if you meet a man who is just dating for fun and going on all of these dates a week, he either needs more friends or he needs therapy, because why the hell are you doing that, frankly? Not to be judging, but I'm judging.
Speak for yourself, moron.
Oh my god, that is funny!
Well, I disagree. The world would be a much better place if you just stopped opening up your legs to Chad, but that omelet has already been served up, and the eggshells have long since found their way into the dumpster. Now, I will admit, loneliness is a problem in today's society, but you are perpetuating that loneliness because you're lonely yourself. Now, I really don't think it's a good idea for you to be passing judgment on an entire group of men that you know next to nothing about, especially when we're in the middle of a massive Mexican standoff when it comes to the subject of human pair bonding. Now, I know you spent a lot of time on your knees, but I don't think it's a smart idea to be telling average men to go seek religion when you know next to nothing about it. You're spewing a whole bunch of vitriol towards an entire group of men that you don't even want to be associated with, and yet that doesn't stop you from blaming us for every single problem that you've ever experienced in your entire life. But at the same time, those men that you're making a pathetic attempt to shame are out there living their lives and doing the best they can. We're focusing on self-improvement, and we're doing a fairly good job, all things considered. So let me ask you this, sister. Who's the real lonely one here? Because I can assure you, it's not really us.
It's not you, it's me. No, actually, it's not me. It is you.
I froze my eggs a few years ago at age 29, and to this day, it is the best decision I have ever made because it's taken the biological timeline and pressure out of dating for me and allowed me to focus on my goals and career before I think about having kids. So in terms of the process, I have a whole highlight on Instagram that goes through like painstakingly day by day, and I'm not a doctor, but essentially it was a 2-week process with daily injections.
Hey. I got a question for you, sweetheart. You're 29 years old. You've already established that. And now you are thinking about your goals and your career and all of this stuff while putting children on the back burner, which, okay, that's fairly standard issue for your typical modern woman, but why are you getting around to your career now? Shouldn't you have been focusing that back in your 20s? Isn't that what you guys talk about like all the goddamn time about how you're supposed to be focusing on your youth and having fun and doing the career and then doing the kids later? You're freezing your eggs at 29 and spending an ungodly amount of money in the process on a procedure that has less than a 35% success rate. I mean, lady, just one look at you and we can already tell that your womb is ready to throw in the towel, so what good is freezing the eggs? It's not like anyone's gonna want to breed with you, but hey, it's your money and it's your life, and both of which are free to waste as you please. But I can't help but wonder, once she reaches the age of 40 and she's unable to actually have children, is she still going to look back at this whole egg freezing thing with all of the injections and still think it was one of the best decisions of her life? Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Where you're getting your eggs to essentially grow in the follicles and then preventing them from releasing, so that way they can do an egg retrieval where they collect as many eggs as possible to then freeze them to be able to use in the future whenever you decide to have children. It cost me $13,000 in New York City, $1,000 a year to keep them frozen. So many companies cover egg freezing now, so it's worth checking that out on insurance as well. And I went to Spring Fertility in New York. Absolutely loved them. And I'm happy to answer more questions you guys have.
Oh wait, you're serious?
You know, the more I think about it, the more I start to realize that the whole egg freezing scam is the perfect representation of the aftermath that is the behavior of the modern woman. I mean, let's just think about it here. We all know that if there's two things that modern women love to waste, it's their time and their money, and egg freezing achieves both of them at the same time. And so when it finally dawns upon them that they need to have a baby soon, they go ahead and take the most ridiculously complicated route possible, one with the least amount of success, and they try to act like this is the best possible move for them, even though the best possible move would have been to actually find a halfway decent guy back when they were in their youth, get married and have kids and do it the natural way. But doing things logically and reasonably isn't in the modern woman's vocabulary, so naturally, because she made things needlessly complicated with her life, she needs to make things needlessly complicated with her ovaries, and she's going to end up wasting about 13 G's in the process. Well, congratulations, woman. You wasted your time, you wasted your money, and what do you get for all of this? I'll give you a hint. It starts with absolutely and ends with nothing. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and make sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.